Hi, I'm Amy Baldwin, and I'm here with Laurie Hazard, and we are talking about the end of the semester, what you need to know, what you can do to help support your student. So let's talk about final exams because they're coming up soon. What are some of the things that students need to be aware of, or families need to be aware of in terms of helping their students when it comes to preparing these last few weeks?
Well, I think families need to know how incredibly stressful this is for students, particularly if they're first years and that it's their first round. I think families should have a conversation, and students should also kind of take a look at their syllabus and find out for each of their courses how much is that final exam worth in terms of how much it's going to affect their overall grade and the outcome at the end of the semester. And students need to really take stock of their academic progress in each course so far. What grade are they going into the final with? And are they teetering on a failing grade, or are they teetering on perhaps ruining an A that they have that have maintained all semester? There can be a lot of anxiety around that for our high achievers. So it's
Hmm.
really right now to kind of look at and assess for each class what's the situation before the students going into the final. So parents should really have that conversation with students and ask the students to think about that. And if the student, and this can happen, says, I have no idea, it's really important to encourage the student to go and talk to each individual faculty member and get clarification on that. If for perhaps their learning management system isn't giving them all the information they need, or if there's some ambiguity on that, or they're still like wondering, they've got to start with talking to the faculty member if there's any confusion. And that's really hard to do for students, to go into those faculty office hours and say, I'm a little bit lost here,
Yeah. What is
especially at the home stretch, because their perception is like, I should probably already know this, but sometimes they don't. And it's better to go in and talk to the faculty member than do the escape and avoidance thing.
Yeah. And I would add to that, do they know what the format of the test is? Do they know how to read a final schedule? Our final schedule is bizarrely complicated to read. I teach my students how to read it. I quiz them on it because it's just like it's calculus. Like if then there, it's like some kind of computer programming. You got to move your finger down across, and then the time is never the time of the class. And then there's always confusion about, like, do I still come to class? No, 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 finals week, totally different. um so when it is, where it is, so sometimes people change rooms. uh, they're not trying to trick you up, but trip you up, but they certainly can do that for certain reasons. And then what's the format? Is it cumulative or comprehensive? What is it covering? Those kinds of things are really important. So if your student can answer those things by Thanksgiving, that we're going to have, our final exam is not cumulative. It's going to be over the last content since the last chapter. It's going to be, objective, or it's going to be essay or whatever. Those kinds of answers really help them
That
prepare.
is excellent concrete advice, Amy.
I been doing this a little while, teaching them how to do it. So, yes, totally stressful. Making sure that, I think we've talked about this before, about not scheduling vacations in the middle of finals. This is one of the reasons why, is that students need all of that time. And they need to be on campus the remainder. I mean, if they have a final Friday afternoon, the last slot of the day, then they need to be there for it. That's another thing, is they sometimes think, well, I'll just go on home because I don't necessarily have to be there. But another piece of this is, what happens if finals don't go well, and they have everything riding on it? What kind of advice can we give to families about that?
Before we jump into that, another concrete piece that I think we should mention is that some schools have reading days, and students think that that's a day off. And really, it's the purpose is designed to get them prepped. And maybe if they have fallen behind, to really use those 1, 2, or 3 free days, depending on the institution. Some have really liberal reading days and some have just one, some have none.
Mhm.
But if they have those, it's not vacation time, it's time to utilize to really get prepped for finals.
Mhm.
Because if things don't go well, students have to look at their college and university's student handbook or catalog that outlines their academic standards of progress and what it means to be on warning or probation, some of the terms that colleges and universities use to alert students that they're in academic difficulty.
Yeah, we use the term alert. I think alert is, very minor, just means, hey, we're keeping an eye on you. Let's make sure we make an improvement in the spring. We have probation, and over semesters of probation, if it gets really bad and that GPA is below a 2, we have a suspension program. So, and that can happen. Usually not immediately. It depends on the institution, but rarely is one semester going to put you on suspension, academically. That is the next semester, unless I don't know. Something really bad happened. Um,
Yeah. And
but
I think to clarify for parents and students, a 2.0 is a C, and in general, colleges and universities, the students fall below that 2.0, that puts them on warning and or probation if that
Mhm.
happens over a number of semesters. So it's not like high school where they will get passed along if they have all Ds.
Yeah, yeah,
So they really have to think about um, and I think the other key is certain majors have higher standards than others. So depending on your major, some nursing majors, some of those, we don't want nurses with below C
no,
GPA, right? Certain majors, it's really critical for the
yeah.
students to have solid
Solid
grades.
grades. I want to say a couple of things about if your student, you find out. Sometimes students like to hide this from their families, but if you do, I think always having open communication, always saying, "Look, if things don't go well this semester, how do you think they're going to go?" And then let's talk about how did they go, and if they didn't go well, can we just talk about what your plan is or what the supports are? Again, I think we've talked about being as non-judgmental as possible and being more curious. Um, because chances are, if the student is on academic probation or alert or warning or whatever it is, they know and they're internalizing that in some way. And you know, from our perspective as administrators and faculty, is it is not a permanent state. It is not a reflection of their character. It is not a reflection of their potential. It is a transition period, and people get through it. And so sharing that, I think, and hearing that hopefully can help some families. You're
Yeah.
nodding, so
Well, I just think that's such an important point because I cannot tell you over the years how many conversations I've had with parents and families where when they find out that their student is on probation or warning or not meeting those academic standards of progress, they kind of push the panic button. And I have to assure them that over the years, I have seen so many students have a rough start and recover beautifully and graduate and even manage to do so in 4 years and not have to take an extra semester. I
mhm.
have also seen students struggle the whole 4 years, but they still manage to complete their degree. So um, not to panic. Everybody's journey is different, and
Mhm.
um, like you said, it's a fixed period of time. It's transient. Things are bound to change for the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. And one of the things that families can do is just educate themselves about what the policies of the institution are. Oftentimes, if you are on some sort of warning system, there are going to be some obligations. Most definitely, the GPA is going to have to come up. But they may have required meetings with advisors or peer coaches, or so many hours in the tutoring center, or something that is not there to be punitive. It's there to be supportive and helpful and intrusive. And so, being aware of that and then going into it with a good attitude about, like, not like, oh God, now I got to go see my, whatever,
Right.
but going, okay, now I get an opportunity to talk about what's going on and what I can do differently.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to for recovery and to
Yeah.
redo and to bounce back from failure. So it's it's got to be looked at as a positive opportunity.
Yeah. But I think on a serious note, the family having some conversation around how this status, this transitional status may affect financial aid, may affect, as you mentioned, degree requirements. The more that they know about what effects these things could have, I think the better able they are to work through them. I have a student that's in he's a senior, and I found out he's watching these LinkedIn videos, by the way. So hi, if he's watching this, if he got this far, I don't think he would, but hi there.
Yeah.
Um, if he were to fail or get a D, because D for his major wouldn't suffice, if he were to do that, we've already had conversations about that, and he's not in that state just yet. But I've said, okay, if this happens, this is our plan, and this is what we're going to do to help you then recover and move forward.
Yeah.
Um,
So it makes me go back to one of my favorite terms. What we're doing here with students and parents and families is anticipatory problem solving. And
mhm.
it's just about at that critical juncture in the semester where it may not be too late to do the anticipatory problem solving. And if they're unclear on their academic standards of progress, and they have an academic advisor, it's time to talk to academic advisors. It's time to talk to your faculty members. It's time to really get a handle on what situation am I in as I'm approaching finals.
Yep. Yep. And having those conversations together just to say, hey, if this happens, this is our plan. So you need to be aware that to talk to me about it. Like, let's not make it a surprise that you're not graduating in May like we thought you were. Let's not wait till
Yeah.
April 30th to let us know that.
Mhm.
Let's
Um, that
figure
is
it
a
out.
real story, right? We've both seen it happen.
Oh yeah, a lot of parent friends that yeah, who they assumed their kid was walking across the graduation stage in a certain month, certain year, and it didn't happen. It just happened a little bit later, and nobody cares. It's fine.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's again one of those things where you don't necessarily have to hit the panic button. There's a way to recover from that situation too. And when they're 35, you'll be joking about it at the Thanksgiving Day table.
Let's hope. Let's hope. And institutions. I know your institution was like this. Mine definitely. We want students to graduate. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And while we will not waive whole, semesters of requirements, we will work often with the student to find a good solution should they have a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a setback. So, just know that people like Lori and me, we are on your student side. We want them to to get out of there. Go on, start your life with a college degree. So there's no incentive for us to like keep them coming back over and over again, unless they need to, unless they want to, right?
That's right. Unless they come back for their master's degree.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Come back for a graduate degree. Well, thank you, Lori. That was a fun talk through a serious topic. So hopefully, we've given some families and parents some things to think about and have those conversations. So thanks so much.